Welcome back to the Bourbon Note. Back at it again with a little bit of bourbon shopping. Had some stuff to do this weekend down in the West Metro area, so I hit a couple of stores. First one is Total Wine in Bloomington. So I wasn't looking for anything crazy here at Total Wine because, to be honest, usually they just kind of have the regular stuff, but usually good prices. This Bondstone one seems to be one that they're promoting quite a bit. I haven't had any experience with that one, but they seem to have a bunch of different expressions of it. They got the Black and Wes Henderson one there. That's interesting. And kind of interested in this Total Wine. I've filmed that one a couple times before, that store pick from Angel's Envy. For $100, considering the cask strength is like 300, and that one's pretty close in proof. So I don't know, maybe at some point I'll grab that. Also, maybe want to grab one of these first call cask strings. Had the regular one. I figured for $40, you know, a cask strength one might be worth trying. I know they're kind of budget friendly. That's their Spirits Direct sort of line. Got the Bullet products. Got your overpriced whiskeys up here, except for that Ezra Brooks. Those are awesome. But that Calumet Bottled in Bond's a little overpriced. Obviously, that H. Derringer is criminally overpriced for what it is. I've never had either one of these. If you guys have any experience with either one of those, let me know in the comments. Got that Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. Awesome. $65. That's a good price for that. I'm kind of waiting for the price to skyrocket on those, although they have been so much more available around here lately that, you know, hopefully that doesn't happen. The Knob Creek Single Barrels, those are back all the time. Their store picks a little overpriced at $68. You can usually get a better deal on those. Total Wine tends to seem to have higher prices on their store picks for whatever reason. I've noticed their Maker's Private Selects are always almost $80. That seems a little weird. And they've had a couple other ones that I've noticed are a little on the expensive side. I've said before, I'm a fan of these McFarland's, except for the 13 and the 12 are $100, and if you can find another store that has them, you know, you can get them for 50 up at Spirits, and so I don't know. If you can get them for 50 one place and they're 100 here, it seems a little shady to me, but you know, they're still good. And then there's the Wolcott. They've got the barrel strength right there, or the cask strength, whatever they call it. I was thinking about checking one of those out for $40, but then I tasted it. There was a sample, and not interested. Kind of tasted like bug spray, so I would not recommend. The rare breed, or not the rare breed, sorry, the Kentucky Spirit. Let me know if that's worth it in the comments. I've had it once or twice before. I don't know if it's worth the double the price from just the regular 101, but I would love to hear from you guys on that because I know there are differing opinions on that. Got the Stellums there, those are always good. And you always have to have the overpriced Henry McKenna. $70 is really tipping the scales on that one. Another thing I'd like to hear your comments on is the just the regular Woodford Rye. I know that's a store pick there, but let me know because I've never had, you know, a Woodford or an Old Forester rye or anything that kind of is down that flavor profile in bourbon that I really like, so I'm interested in that. And then just kind of the standard expensive stuff in the glass case here. All right, nothing really, you know, crazy, you know, nothing, didn't stumble across any like totally hidden gems, but kind of nice to see they still have the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. That's pretty much everywhere now, so kind of dried up for a little while. I've mentioned that in videos before. I had the overpriced Henry McKenna. A little weird that Total Wine has kind of taken some of those bottles and overpricing them. They never seemed to used to do that, but kind of seems to be their thing now. But I did pick up a bottle while I was there, and this one is just because I needed kind of just a utility, that daily pour. Not that you have to drink it every day, but just kind of your regular go-to, nothing fancy, but something you really like. Bam, went with the Old Forester 100. Really like this. And gonna do a video coming up comparing this to Early Times Bottled in Bond because they're both Brown-Forman, both 100 proof, similar flavor profiles, and I want to see how good of a replacement this is for the Early Times since that one's being discontinued. So anyway, next stop is Ace Spirits in Hopkins, Minnesota. Ace Spirits is a fantastic liquor store if you're into whiskey. Tons of store picks. A lot of these bottles on the shelf are store picks. I kind of blew past it a little bit, but that Wilderness Trail, I might have to go back and snag one of those because I'm a fan of Wilderness Trail. But yeah, a lot of this stuff, not all of it, but a lot of it is just their own store picks. They're really great about getting different brands, I think, store picks that, you know, you don't really see in some other places. You got the Old Elk 7-year here. That's a store pick of theirs. And they've got this Nashville Barrel Company. I've never had one of those before. They're a little expensive. I'd love to hear your opinion on those. They got a couple of the Maker's Mark Private Selects for $60, which is awesome. So love that. Those are two different stave profiles. But this is all whiskey here on this entire wall. And you see that middle section there, that's a tasting bar, and everything to the left is bourbon and then some rye, and everything to the right, I believe, is mostly Scotch and Irish. But so you can tell by that wide shot that they've got a great whiskey selection. A bunch of the Old Elks here. So there is on the end here an Old Elk cigar cut. I know a lot of people are looking for that. And from the time that I'm releasing this on July 18th, this was a little over a week ago that I was there. So I can't guarantee those are still there, but if you're watching this on the day it's released, they might be. Kind of tough to film the top shelves here. It's a little easier to see in person, but the camera, I don't know, just didn't pick it up quite as great. But yeah, you can see that tasting bar off to the right there, and I probably should have gotten some more footage of that, but they usually have, you know, tons of their store picks available to try before you buy. And whether it's bourbons, rye, Scotch, Irish, they've always got a ton of stuff over there that you can sample, so that's always good. But they kind of have all the basics and then some really just cool, you know, random stuff. Again, I hate to keep repeating the store pick thing, but that's really, in my opinion, one of my favorite parts about this store, because, you know, that's where you can get something really unique, and you don't have to be hunting for a unicorn to find something really cool and something that's a little bit different. Henry McKenna, 65. We're getting a little more reasonable on that. I'm still a little more in the 60 range for that. But I know that is creeping up everywhere in Minnesota. But it also seems to be showing up everywhere too, so I'm wondering if the price on that will eventually go down. So, I don't know. Fingers crossed that it does, because it's a great bourbon, but it's just getting a little bit, I don't know. I'm getting priced out of my interest for it. Doc Swinson's, those are awesome. So yeah, great store. Tons of whiskey. So obviously an awesome selection there. They've got a great just kind of overall whiskey selection. It's not just bourbon. I tend to lean more into the bourbon and ryes and things like that. But yeah, if you're a Scotch drinker, Irish drinker, Ace just kind of has a reputation. I mean, most people from that general area of the state, everybody kind of knows about Ace. And like I said in the narration there, fantastic store picks. I probably should have gone a little slower through some of the shelves there. I was kind of in a hurry. Truth is, we were helping our, one of the kids moved out that day, graduated this year, and moved out to an apartment. So it's kind of a busy day, but I figured if I was gonna be in the area, might as well stop and hit some stores. So I kind of went through there a little bit quickly, but yeah, just to give you the gist of it, fantastic selection, total recommend if you're ever in the area. And I did pick up a bottle there as well. Again, wasn't looking for anything too crazy, didn't want to spend too much money, but there's one that I've had my eye on for a little bit, and that is, bam, this is a Bernheim wheat whiskey. Now this is just the regular small batch 7-year. If you watch any of our other bourbon hunting videos, you know when I first started making these, I was looking for the barrel proof. Still haven't found that, and I'm still looking for it. But I remember we had this a while ago, like maybe two and a half years ago, and that was the only time I ever had it, and I actually liked it. And for a $30 bottle, you know, I figured why not? I wanted to try it again, maybe just to have a nice 90 proofer. It's always good to have a somewhat lower proof one that has decent flavor on hand for if you want to have a pour or two, but you don't want to get into the high proof stuff because you're not trying to, you know, get out of control with it. So we recently did a review of this, hasn't come out yet, but look forward to that and we'll give you the opinions on it. Anyway, next up is the MGM, also in Hopkins, Minnesota. So, surprisingly enough, for an MGM store, this place had a shockingly small bourbon selection. And this is kind of the edge of it right here where you start to get into the Canada whiskey. But yeah, in the bourbons and ryes are all kind of mixed together. So this is kind of the bourbon and rye selection, and it just kind of ends right here, which is weird because MGM usually has a decent size and sometimes even just a huge bourbon selection. I've been to branches of their store where they've got, 3 times the size of this one here. So I don't really know what the deal is. Maybe just having some competition right down the street. They keep it, on the smaller side as far as the selection, but they do have the glass case here. And so they had a couple of good things in here. They got the Henry McKenna, $66 or 65, whatever that says. The Elijah Craig Toasted. I'm not a big fan of that one, so I left that one on the shelf, but did come across this here, the Larceny Barrel Proof B523 for $60, and that's a great price for that. Did I pick up the Larceny B523? Bam! Yes, I did. Really like these. $60. Can't go wrong as far as I'm concerned. Haven't had one that I don't like. We did film a review of this already, and at the time that I'm going to release this video, this one will be coming out tomorrow. So if you're watching this anytime on the replay, you can go find the review of this. Spoiler alert, loved it. These are always good. I know people kind of have their ups and downs with them, but for the $60, I've never been disappointed. Other than the glass case, though, it was kind of weird, as I had said in the narration. They're just, usually MGM has a large bourbon selection, and that one, for whatever reason, didn't. But always check the glass case. So anyway, that was my bourbon hunting for not this past weekend, week before, a little while ago. I'm a little bit behind on releasing this. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to watching these bourbon hunting videos, you're not familiar with our channel, we do reviews once every Monday and Thursday, and then we do a live stream pretty much every Wednesday night, and those are a lot of fun. So tons of content, and if you're into that, bourbon reviews, all things bourbon related, check out the channel. Cheers.